Welcome to an Enshrouded build showcase. My name's JadePG. I'm a YouTuber that covers survival games on my own channels, but today King Games have given me an exclusive opportunity to show you some of the finer details with building in their brand new survival RPG game. I spent a number of hours within Enshrouded doing lots of base building and checking out the different mechanics, and today I'm going to deliver the 5 key important features you need to know that really make Enshrouded, to me, stand out from a lot of other games and really make this something you should be checking out in the future. So obviously make sure you subscribe to King's YouTube channel, but do go ahead and wishlist the game. You'll find a link in the description box taking you to the Steam page. Let's go. So it's a pretty comprehensive tutorial that will take you to the first place where it wants you to base build. And base building, just like other games, has got uses where you get bonuses for resting and comfort. So you can see it's a very plain field. First of all, you've got to put down your flame. This is your marker that you're going to have this as your area to have your base, and no other players, I do believe, can really build close to it. You can expand the flame, which you'll really like as well, by giving resources. So if you start out small with that cozy cottage feel and then want to upgrade, and you can build a huge mansion if you want once you get it upgraded. Now this is a co-op game, so don't have to worry about other players necessarily trolling you, but you never know. It's good to have that bit of protection, and also gives you a landscape to work with in terms of distances. Next we're talking about the actual terraformation, and again this is some of the best I've seen. Other games recently I've seen you can kind of dig holes and flatten the ground a little bit, but this you can literally raise up a mountain if you really wanted to, with a variety of different resources. The voxel techniques that they've learned making their previous game Portal Knights and now transforming that into something that looks more realistic is pretty incredible. I really like this mechanic. I can well imagine so many cool bases, and you're going to see something pretty special at the end of me guiding you through some of this. There's a few different items that you need to know. You can quick build, so you'll basically get a blueprint selection and they'll have different shapes to it, and then you can expand and kind of cut across with them. Or you can individually place these small cubes and they really transform what you're doing, but you'll be seeing more of that a bit later. Here I've got some dirt. I decided I was going to try and make some sort of farming patch and maybe put some crops down later. And you've got the rocky outcrop. I'm now placing some rough stone fence around it, and it just looks so cool. It doesn't have that blocky look of other games like Minecraft. It's still looking realistic and it blends together so well, and that's something I've not seen in many other games to this extent anyway, this well done. But it's not just about putting your house on a nice hill. How about you becoming a proper cave dwelling creature? You can actually build into the ground and terraform. It might take a bit more work, and maybe my tool wasn't the best one here for the job, but it does seem possible that you could build cave bases. We've seen from the trailers that you can build perfect tunnels through huge mountains and cliffs, and so the idea here is that you could potentially live underground. Then it was time to put some foundations down, and a sheer choice in size. You can have much smaller than this, you can have largers as part of the quick build blueprint system. I really appreciate this. If you don't want to go painstakingly building everything with just the small cubes, there's a variety of different shapes, doorways, windows and archways. Building system does take a bit of time to get used to. There's certain buttons that you have to have, or combinations, and sometimes if you're pressing the wrong thing that can cause you to basically demolish something. But that ends up actually being a feature of the game, which I'll talk about a bit later. But here you can see I'm just placing lots of different walls down and experimenting with it. You obviously get so much choice in terms of the materials, as I mentioned, and they will come in the form of blocks. So you'll gather them and you can see the clear numbers in the hotbars down below. Some may have to be refined also to hopefully go ahead and build whatever you want. I really like the idea that you've got natural generation of things like the ivy on here as well. So at this point I was going for more of a sort of Tudor style build a little bit, just to raise it up and make the cottage look a bit more interesting, and I decided to extend it a little bit by double stacking the walls. And you can see how great it all just blends together. It does need a little bit of work with the pointers and stuff, but there is also a auto toggle that will basically snap things to make it a little bit easier if you're building something fairly simple. You can make bases seem so realistic with quirks and all sorts of things going on to make it stand out a little bit more. You've got all sorts of horizontal blocks as well. To start, I did some beading around my little Tudor house. And then the insides, putting obviously floors down and stuff. So building's a key part of the game. It's going to help you basically get new recipes by discovering certain NPCs and getting them to come back to live with you, as you'll see at the end. So you do want to give yourself a lot of space. This cozy cabin, I'm sure I'll probably outgrow fairly quickly, but I got the floor layered up and then it was time to think about trying to get the roofs done. Now bear in mind this is from the beta version of the game, so improvements will be made, but just like most games it's always a bit finicky putting roofs on sometimes, so probably need to extend a little bit in terms of the scope or where you can actually place buildings and not have to be too close to them. And likewise, when you're too close to a piece, just let us be able to place it down and maybe move us above it. But again, a really free-flowing custom idea of building. You can change the shape of the roofing, you can get smaller pieces, larger, and you can go ahead and dismantle a lot of the blocks that you're using to hide away nooks and bits that may be snagged out and don't look as good. So after messing around, we finally got the roofing done, and you now just got to put off the last few pieces as I started to think about adding some windows. Now this is where the customization really comes in. This is basically the basic version of building without blueprints. You have just the resource and you can go ahead and destroy one block to create windows, doorways, arches, whatever it is you want, and then build up with the resource that you want. Such a game changer not to have just regular shaped windows. You can have all sorts of gaps and things, adding extra light into your bases without the need to have big huge glass blocks or rectangles. So you use these cubes to either build something a bit more complex or go ahead and demolish certain pieces of your wall. So part of that is also the ability to rewind. You can effectively redo or undo the last 5 things that you've placed or any actions you've done. This is really a good godsend. We've all done it before. We've deleted something and it's been crucial to the build, or we've placed it in just that wrong spot. Well, now with just a tap of a button you can rewind time ever so slightly and give yourself an opportunity to place it exactly where you wanted or rejig something. It's a really cool feature. I don't think I've seen it like this in any other game. Enshrouded is really trying some new stuff here to make life easier for players that just love to get lost in building grand castles, bases and forts. It's such a game changer being able to customise in this way with them other features. I don't think many games have this kind of mixture, and yeah, it's definitely going to need some more work in the future. This is still just a beta, but absolutely enjoyed my time here, and just the possibilities are endless. Getting things looking right with this customization with the one block, opening up windows and gaps, or creating yourself ruins as well, really does lend itself to so many possibilities. So no survival adventure game is really complete nowadays without some cozy decor, and Enshrouded's got that in abundance. A nice selection of basic furnitures and more advanced ones that you'll get access to as you get new recipes. Obviously being able to have the freedom to place it where you want, and again snap into things and making sure you've got plenty of light in and around your base. When building your base you've got to think about the 3 key things of shelter, warmth and comfort. So I'm pretty sure, not that I tested it thoroughly, that the more decorations you have, the more that's going to lead to a better comfort score. Final touches like windows are also really fantastic, the way that you can blend them inside the actual structures, so not having to worry about just empty window frames. And there's lots and lots of choice. I always hate when I see builds built on a huge amount of foundations that kind of just seem stuck right in the landscape, but now you can blend the landscape to suit you. You can blend the pieces that they'll go into the ground and dirt and just make everything look a bit more natural. I really didn't like the look of these archways on the foundations, so I went ahead and covered the outsides of them. And this extended to being given a bit of a farming feel to my cozy little cottage, planting some seeds and wheats so that I could hopefully make it look a bit more lived in, with the huge rock next to it making it seem a bit more natural, and the way that I blended it in. I really felt like this cozy cottage could have been designed by a game developer in this part of the world. So that's my cozy cottage. That's the basics of building in Enshrouded. I think we've seen some of these mechanics in other games, but not done as well as we've seen here, and not in combination with the ability to have that custom building, the blueprint building and the terraforming, and all them just quality of life features like being able to undo certain pieces that you've done. And I guess finishing off, you can see my blacksmith there. He'll give you access to brand new weapons and armors. You'll find and rescue him from certain points in the world, as well as other NPCs, and you bring them back, so you've got your chance to build a village with all your NPCs, making it a fully lived in little part of the world. I'll most likely cover this in more detail in the future, but yeah, effectively you rescue these NPCs. There's various different ones, and they'll give you access to new, unique and different kinds of materials, like this charcoal kiln from the blacksmith. And this is how you can progress and unlock new recipes for building as well as the weapons and tools. So I'm going to have one more run through as dusk was settling down on my little farmstead. This was all just a completely plain field, and now I feel like it fits into the landscape a lot more. I'm going to show you something pretty special now though. I'm going to show you my mage's tower that I cobbled together pretty quickly using the mechanics that I'd learned over around 3 hours. So here is my rather thick wizard's tower. I ain't gonna lie, it looks more like a rocket, but you get the idea. I just want to show that you can add some more details and features to a build and make something very different from just a cozy cottage if you really wanted to. I love that you can make crevices and all sorts of decorations to make walls not so flat, and just makes and lifts a lot of the base design up. You see there I've got a little balcony as well, and just all these little things here. So using only 1 or 2 materials as well, I didn't want to go too mad, just showing you guys all different things you can maybe think of doing. So hopefully this has whetted your appetite about what Enshrouded will offer when it releases later on this year, and I'm sure there's going to be many improvements. Bearing in mind this is all footage from the closed beta. I'm sure we're going to see even more improvements added to the building. And of course there's so many other aspects to explore with Enshrouded, and hopefully I'll be giving you more details and news about them in the future. If not, make sure you're subscribed to the King Games and Enshrouded YouTube channel, follow them on social media, and come join the Discord to hear up-to-date information about Enshrouded. And another gentle reminder to go ahead and make sure you've wishlisted the game, and again that link will be in the description box. Check my actual YouTube channel at JadePG to see even more of Enshrouded in the future, and I'll see you very soon.